Well, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Ludo History. As always, I'm Adam, and today we are going to be continuing Hollow Knight. But KJ, JCDC, Liz, Icarus with the 12 months of Prime, Terralingua, Cosmic, Wolfie, everyone, hello. You're mad that you introduced me to Stray Gods because now you want to play it, but it's going to be PC exclusive? Yeah. It's not even out yet though, but hopefully we'll get console release later. But it's I'm so excited for that game. That was easily the demo that was like, I'm obsessed. I'm completely obsessed with it, and I love it. Alright. So, Steam Deck, true. Technically true. Ooh, that still's a bit too warm to drink. Okay. Anyway. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to what's going to be Hollow Knight. We are continuing our historical tour, which if you don't know what that means, basically, right, it is one of the best constructed, lore-heavy, Souls-like approach to, like, a constructed past. So, the lore of the game is real good and real deep, and has lots of hints to it. So we are using this as a case study for how you do history and how you actually like reconcile different types of evidence by wandering through every area, seeing what we see, and then piecing it together. It's pretty great. That being said, last time we spent the entire time discussing and or arguing about what is lore? Like, what do we actually mean when we say that? And how is it different from, you know, history? The goal is to not spend the entire time doing that today, but we are going to spend a little bit more time doing that today, because of course we are. Because it's kind of a really, really fascinating question. But, of course, as always, if you have not followed yet and are enjoying this, do make sure you hit that follow button to be notified for when we go live. There's a wide variety of stuff. Irony Ferrum, welcome and hello to you too. As I was saying, if you have not followed yet, make sure you hit that follow button. We do a wide variety of historical and historical adjacent games on this channel. So if you like those and like the chill vibes, definitely make sure you come and hang out. If you really want to support the channel, also consider either subscribing, which if you have Prime Gaming, you have a free Twitch sub every month. If you want to send those my way, would of course be super appreciated. And if you really, really want it, for as little as $2 a month, you can also support the channel over on Patreon. Alright, so, those announcements out of the way, I think it's time for us to get into more of our Hollow Knight historical tour. And my stream deck isn't working, of course it's not. Let me... hang on. Please hold. Technical difficulties. There we go. Oh, it needs to update. Well, that's why. Anyway, let's try that again. Let's get into it. Let's see. We were on this file, I believe. Hooray! Yep. Look at our cute little friend. Let's see, we've got a good number of charms already, don't we? So, last time we did wander... Hello, Blues. Hello, Brave Fellow. That's an important one. Let's see, last time, it's been a couple weeks, so my memory's a bit hazy, but we've done the Howling Cliffs, we've done the Forgotten Crossroads, we've done most of Green Path, and we've done Crystal Peaks, in terms of the things we have already finished. We've gotten all our movement abilities except for Monarch's Wings, and I think that means it's time for us to start off with looking at the City of Tears. Now, I will also note that there is something real funky, yes, definitely a great charm here, that I have been thinking about that is, I think, worth starting off our discussion with, and it is the question of, you know, what year is it? You know. What year is it? Look at our flashy. The maiden woke in darkness. Confused, she reached out. Sharp brambles jabbed at all sides. Burning acid bubbled close below. What time or a letter here? What hope of survival remained? Doomed she thought herself, into despair she fell, until a light bloomed far in the distance, a bright, glowing spot fast approaching. It swept majestic about the thorns, leapt above burning waters, and dove towards the maiden. Coming close, the form revealed itself. A beautiful being. Sharp horns gleaming white. Arms reached out for the damsel, gathering her up, grip firm. These arms? These teeny tiny arms. We are much too cute for this. Anyway. Right, there's a lot of vibes here, of the world of Hollow Knight being exceedingly ancient. Things happened long ago. It's got all the right language of how long ago all these things took place. Chat? How long ago actually is it? Because one of the things we've been kind of thinking about and confused by is that there seems to be a lot of layers occurring in very, very quick succession. Particular note, right, are all of the statues of various bugs that seem to be, like, they seem to be older than all the wrought iron stuff. Let's see if we can find one. I know that there's some around here. Oh. Sorry, gotta be good first. There may not be any down here in particular. But right, there's all the statues lurking in the background, that simultaneously appear to be significantly older and, a bit cruder than all the stuff associated with the Pale King, but exist pretty much in the same layer as it. So, I'm like, how old actually are we talking here? Because it makes figuring out the chronology of how this all works a little bit difficult. My contention is, of course, this is to some extent fictional, right? So it can be as long ago as it wants. But, if we assume real world, the fall of Hallownest occurred, I would argue, about 5 years ago. My primary evidence for this is that the last stag, remembers the glory days of Hallownest, and stag beetles, the longest lived species in the wild, live for about 7 years. So it can be no more than 5 years ago. Which, you know, makes a lot of things make sense. Right? For instance, it makes it make way more sense why all of these papers that we can see lurking around are still in good shape. It also helps explain, you know, why the colors are still these beautiful steel blues. Apart from, you know, it looks good. It looks good is, of course, a valid explanation. But with this much dripping water, one would perhaps expect a little bit more destruction, demolition, and doom. Right. Do you think there's something that is considered in the development process? I genuinely don't know. Hello, Brave New Turtle. You're very curious what Hollow Knight has to do with history. My contention is that it is a great way to think about historical methods, or is a great game to think about historical methods with, and how we're doing stuff. Right? Hallownest has a bunch of civilizations it considers ancient and lost, I think. Right, the ancient eggs are the clearest example, but Bardoon also thinks of a bunch of stuff, right?
Velmi Ardred.
Let's see if there's anything interesting to say here.
Boris' son? Gian.
I'm marrying my shop, are you? Well, I'm no squatter. This place was dead empty when I moved in, and there's no one left alive who'd lay claim to the tower. If you fancy yourself a domicile in the city, go find somewhere else. Preferably in another building. I'm well content with just my relics. I'm not after neighbors.
Helma Delka.
Thanks, out with you, this isn't a music- oh. Lem, stop being a private collector. I wanna watch. I mean, Randy Tarkle, I have excellent news to you. Memory studies perspectives are one of my favorite things to be doing when approaching, like, constructed pasts. And I have some hot takes there. I have some extremely hot takes regarding memory studies approaches to Hollow Knight. Anyway.
Boris' son?
A Wanderer's Journal? Yes, I'll add it to the pile with the others. Don't know when I'll get to decipher this one. It's long, hard work translating the many languages of the bugs that explore these caverns. Yay, languages! A Wanderer's Journal? You've a knack for finding these. Corpses must be frequent on your journey. No doubt your nails created many more. And the Hallownest Seals.
Kachael.
A Hallownest Seal, eh? Give it here. Do you have anything else for me? Not get your damp little self out of my home. Oh, I've got another one. Another Hallownest Seal? Others have told me that there's a statue out by the city's entrance depicting a large knightly figure. Could be one of the kingdom's great five. I'd have looked it over myself, but the gate's long been shut tight. It's too much hassle taking the long way around with all those blasted husks about it. Yep, that's another Hallownest Seal, alright. This shop will be overflowing with these things soon. I never guessed so many would still be lying about. If there's as common as you make them seem, maybe I've been offering too much for them. No, it's fine. It's fine, I promise. Another Hallownest Seal. Pass it over then. Oh. King's Idol. A King's Idol, eh? Hallownest King was an elusive figure, deified by the citizens. With the king rarely seen, worship was offered through these idols. Yeah! Yay, weird theocracies! We love them. There is an expert craft to them. Few alive could match this skill. Let's keep going. A King's Idol? If you look closely, each of these idols is subtly different. There are fine engravings about them that take some time to decipher. I suspect each was tailored to the owner. A personalized symbol of the king's omnipotence. Yay!
Helma Delka.
Ritual purposes. Oh yeah, no. Lem 100% hit us with the ritual purposes right there. Oh, I don't have any keys. That's awkward. So, we had some questions before we sold all the things, and then we'll talk about the things. So, do you think the devs were actually thinking about this? To some extent, no. Right. Well, there's a lot that the folks at Team Cherry, have thought about. I really don't think they have, I don't think they considered, things to the same extent that, the community has considered them. I think they simply laid a bunch of pieces with some sense of how they fit together, and the community has since constructed a canon around them. That being said, whether or not they thought about it is only sometimes important. Right. It's sometimes important to think about what the devs intended, and what considerations they were thinking about, but it's not always important. And I think, considering what the age of is one of those things where whether they thought about it doesn't matter. Nice. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Still warming up. So, right, in this case, right, did they think about how quickly everything would rust in this? Right, did anyone think about, did Team Cherry consider how quickly all this wrought iron would rust to pieces with all the, ring? No, they just like the blue. And that's fine. But, you know, thinking about this as a 5-year-old thing, that still undergoes at least occasional maintenance, since there is, you know, a bug who fixes everything that we break. That makes way more sense than thinking of this as like a 200 or 300-year-old thing. So, I think you bringing in that real-world information helps us understand just how compressed the timeline is, and explain why some of the layers here look a bit funky and compressed. I'm gonna have to go around to Resting Grounds, aren't I? There's not a lot else to talk about in here. Because I think we also already did talk about Soul Sanctum and their fucked up bug experiments. But classic mad scientist trope, there's some horribly messed up bug-shaped experiments going on. Honestly, for City of Tears being far and away the most inhabited place in the game, there's not actually that much to talk about, right? A lot of the most important things for historical methods in this are a bunch of piles of writings that we can't read, a bunch of papers with nothing on them, and then one monumental inscription, and with the Hollow Knight statue, and then Lem. And then Lem himself being our primary, what I'll call academic source of information, in that the things he knows are based on translating. Primary. Oh no, there's not a third one to break. Texts! No! It was nearly good. So as, like, he is our primary academic source of information. Texts. There we go. But all of these writings are basically, a huge treasure trove of information in a wide variety of languages, about a wide variety of things. Like, this would be an archive, if it weren't for the fact that, everyone's dead. And the lone archivist of Lem does not have time to translate it all. So, there's basically a ton of information that is unprocessed, and if it's unprocessed, it's basically non-existent. And that means, apart from the idea of this being a highly educated, highly literate society, with a lot of scientific advancement and research going on, admittedly, sometimes pretty fucked up, research and advancement going on, there's not actually a lot to glean using standard historical methods from here. Like, okay, you can look at the architecture and go, wow, that architecture is real good, and you would be correct. Ow. Jerk. But you'd be super correct. But it doesn't really inform a lot of our particular questions, right? Like, what are the implications of this being an educated society? Oh, damn it. That was just literally not right. That's fine. This is fine. Much more interesting, right, if we take a history of science approach. Well, now we know that one of their main research is full-on mad scientist, how to break free of the constraints of soul and mentality. Right, weirdly, right, a good historical comparison perhaps is all these anecdotes about kings being so obsessed with death and immortality that they come up with lots of ways and quacks and elixirs. These are like half folklore, half history, but it is like a meaningful thing to talk about, you know, elite culture being completely obsessed with death and death cultures and not wanting to die. And that's all. Like, the comparative point appears to be that elite culture in this society seems to be obsessed not with death, but with overcoming, like, the mind? Which is very fun and very thematically resonant and very weird. Like, that is big weird. We stand weird things. We absolutely stand weird things. And it's such a fun weird thing because it's of course clearly a concern based in, you know, writing. Or based in the writing for the game, I should say. Because, you know, the dreams, the remembrance of dreams and the relevant insanity of dreams are 100% like important questions for this game and what the Radiance is doing. Promised plenty, souls to serve, soul twisted. And of course, right, it's not like it's irrelevant to death culture because soul is life force. Like, soul seems to be literally vital force. And so breaking free of soul, of the mere limitations of life force, is of course itself seeking a kind of immortality. So, right, it's all very tangled up. But it occupies this sort of, or I guess, yeah, we'll say occupies, occupies this sort of space where it primes the player to, at least the historically informed player, to be thinking in terms of, like, folkloric bad kings. Right, like, Soul Sanctum is, like, the first place where we really get the sense that maybe this is just, like, a bad king. Maybe he's just genuinely not good. And maybe this elite culture, is bad. And that's exciting. Like, there's a lot to love with that. What's the best place to go? I think maybe Dermot. Maybe Dermot. Yeah. Oh yeah, do I have D-Dark yet? I think I have D-Dark. Wait, I don't have resting grounds though? Alright. I don't know what the heck I was doing. But apparently I don't have resting grounds yet, so we're gonna go fix that. Actually, no, we're not gonna fix that yet. We're gonna go visit Salubra. Let's go visit Salubra. And then we'll go talk about resting grounds. Alright, got that. Good. The organ track in Soul Sanctum was phenomenal. True. The organ track in Soul Sanctum is absolutely incredible. Are we gonna go excavate a graveyard? Do they have grave? We are gonna go mess around in a graveyard. I don't know if we'll excavate it because it's protected. And I am bad at this video game. We are gonna at least... We get the rare luxury, every archaeologist's dream of just talk to the dead people forehead. Right? You know, you're noticing an almost gothic style to the architecture? Yeah, that's there's these objects. Alright, so, that's a really good shout. I would not say quite gothic, I'd say Victorian / neo-gothic. But it's absolutely a right shout, right? That we have this big focus on very tall pointy bits, especially around the Pale King. And really fine delicate wrought ironwork. And just creating this sense of tallness and lightness in otherwise fairly dark areas. We also have these guys, which seem very, like, right, they seem almost randomly placed in the landscape, where these are street lamps, and the street lamps are illuminating the street, and the railings here are clearly keeping us on a road. These statues are weird, and so you could interpret these as an older layer. But if old is like 5 years, then it's like, whatever. Right, nothing's actually broken down yet, because it's not actually a long time for most decomposition. Whee! Alright, Celebra. What have we got? We've got Quick Focus. We've got another Charm Arch. I need 6 more charms before I can get the last one. Darn. There is a collapsed house, right? There is definitely some decay happening, right? If you leave something alone for 5 years, it is gonna start suffering. But, like, have you seen something that's like 50 years old and just totally abandoned? Completely overgrown. Everything's rotted through, completely unsafe to exist in, and it's... like, it's actually a problem. But if we look in here, well, there has been some decay, right? The roofs have collapsed. But there still is a lot of structural integrity going on. That makes more sense within relatively short-term decay versus relatively long-term decay. Just talk to the dead people as a method of like historical study is so underrated. True. Just talk to the dead people. Like, it makes it all super easy if you just talk to them. They may not know the answer, but they'll know something. Hello. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. And do I have D-Dark yet? I do have D-Dark. Alright. So, rather than shade skipping, because I have 3940 Geo, I don't really want to throw that away for no reason. So instead of shade skipping, we're just gonna go visit Crystal Peak the normal way. Ah! They baited me. Exactly. Oh no, there's a mystery? Just cast Speak with Dead. Murder mysteries are so much easier when you can just, Speak with Dead on them. Admittedly, then you get some Phoenix Wright shenanigans. So, maybe not. I suppose I should heal. Exactly. Just cast a charm that lets you speak with the dead people, and then everything's solved. Easy peasy. You only ask like 3 to 5 questions? Well, that's boring. Huh, damn it. I fed. I also don't think I need to go this way, though. I don't think I need to go into the dark room. Actually, yes I do, don't I? I can't remember. Is the dark room just for D-Dark? Is this just D-Dark it, but again? It totally intentional damage boost? No, this is what I wanted to do. Goodbye! Boop. Let's go sit on a bench first, and then we'll fight people. We've already beaten Gorb. But there's a lot to... Okay, there's like a stupid amount to talk about here. Easily one of the places with the most things to talk about. Yes, graveyard. But also lots of statuary, lots of competing architectural styles and decorations, lots of like subaltern signs of conflict. Like a lot you can do with this space. Ha. Okay. First things first, let's see what our good buddy, our first-person testimony has to say about it. The resting grounds. Passengers would come here to conduct rituals for those who have passed on. Not anymore, though. Perhaps the dead conduct their own rituals now? Well, that's fun. Well, that's a fun way of thinking about it. Just asked one heck of a question of who are like grave rituals for? Right, most anthropologists these days would say that mortuary rituals are for the living community. Because, you know, dead people are, dead. Turns out they kinda don't care. Obviously complicated in this setting by the fact that they, kinda do care. Now! Hang on. We're gonna have to do some stuff first. But, you know, if we assign a belief system here, right, a sense of there being a belief system, or even if we don't have details of what it is, if we're like, hey, we know for a fact that this culture, as part of their theocratic, like, deified god king worship, also has mortuary culture. Then we're able to almost immediately, and very usefully, go, hey, we now know something about this space. And exactly. Right, like this is dead remembered, penitent moth, dreams revered. How does that count for belief systems that include an afterlife? Well, exactly, right? We now know another thing about this belief system. That is a belief system that first and foremost reveres the Pale King as a god, and secondly, has some belief in an afterlife. From a pure, like, anthro point of view, how does that count? Like, the idea that mortuary rituals are for the living? Right? That's where we need to separate between, study as an outsider, or what we call an emic perspective, or emic, depending on how you feel like pronouncing it, and from an like a culture-specific perspective, that interior perspective, which is either edic or edic, E-T-I-C. Right, the outside perspective says, yeah, they're for the living, because, you know, the dead are dead. The edic perspective might say, well, no, we actually do believe that there is an afterlife here, and that this has some meaningful response for the community, and some meaningful belief in there being an extension. So both perspectives are valid, and certainly, right, for cultures where ancestral continuity is a big deal, you don't want to be denigrating that, because within that culture, it is of course a true sentence that the community that the ritual is for includes the deceased. It's not just the deceased, it is also for the living community, but it is at least partially for the dead, and the dead are able to react to it and respond to it, and in some way continue to interact with the community, either passing on their received wisdom or providing some other benefit. So, right, both are valid, and you get different things out of considering different aspects of that as important. In the context of this particular world, though, there's a small issue, and that is a lot of these dead are super violent and jerks, and those who try to leave this kingdom are cursed. Better to rest here until time itself sleeps. Hope and freedom. I thought that strength alone could grant me those things. In my dreams, I would cut that plague with my nails, and then I turned my weapons upon the king. When I awoke in this sacred place, I began to understand. Those who hope are already doomed. Do you still hope, Wanderer? Will you flee, or will you raise your weapon and doom us both? Ow. Got all three? Ow. Ow. I'm feeding! Yep, he's now got more swords. Ow. Those who hope are already doomed feels very soft-esque. True. Ah, I can see now. Those who turn against the king are doomed as soon as they raise their weapon. Do not call me a traitor. Simply call me a fool. I know you will not flee. Wherever you go, I will be watching. Interesting. That's an interesting takeaway here. Given, you know, the status of the king being not so hot, cursed are those who turn against the king. Given that the king's status is, officially speaking, not so hot, interesting that the takeaway is that, basically reinforcing the theocracy. What causes these dead people to become violent versus the presumed multitudes who are just ignoring it? Heroism. I'm gonna channel my, not-so-inner watcher and just be like, heroes are bad people. They're super dangerous to the community, and even in death, exist in this weird space of monumentalizing, and also really not wanting to be around them. Alright, so these warrior dreams, I think you can more accurately call heroic dreams, because there are other warriors who don't have these big dreams. But it's like martial prowess plus some sort of aspiration or dream-based insanity. We're gonna call it insanity with recognition that that's not a great, like a super accurate term to be engaging with that. But like, something about that combination results in extremely dangerous spaces that we overcome by the power of violence. It's a weirdly Highlander situation. Anyway, this space is exciting. Let's see, we have Statue of a Random Bug. We have a Statue of a Random Bug. We have a Statue of a Random Bug. We have these, which have a place for a seal, right, some sort of crest, in the mandibles, or horns, or however you want to read that. Then we have the Hallownest seals. And so, effectively, what this room is, appears to be a solution, All problems are solved by the proper application of violence? The more you know. This whole space seems to be an exertion of the Pale King's superiority over this central monument. Which, you know, makes me wonder, like, why build a monument at all? I guess it's a warning monument, right? It's a monument of the Pale King's victory over this fool. But, like, look at how strong of an assertion of power there is here, where there's this gate, and you enter this, like, protected, ghostly, full of dead people space, whose centerpiece is a betrayer that is just having an infinite amount of power exerted on it. And that is your introduction to the resting grounds, according to the proper organization of the space. Like, that's a sentence. Right, as you get into the resting grounds, then there's, you know, even more. And the proper dreamers, right, the dreamers who are not warriors and have harnessed the power of dreams to protect instead of to try to overthrow. So non-heroic dreams become memorialized in a proper way. And then you get in here. Exactly, right? This whole area is a massive exertion of the Pale King's authority. Which is very funny, given that it's also the place where we learn about the, you know, alternative. What are you doing, poking about at the dusty old mind like mine? Nothing of worth is hidden inside, I believe. But keep probing the world around you with your dream nail. Hidden things will reveal themselves. Figures, the dreamers, they reached out with what little power they still have and dragged you into that hidden place. What talisman you now wield, the dream nail. It can cut through the veil that separates the waking world from our dreams. Even the dreamers themselves cannot hide from such a weapon. Though I must admit, that sacred blade has dulled over time. Together, perhaps we can restore its power. You only have to bring me essence. The precious fragments of light that dreams are made of. Collect it wherever you find it, and bring it to me. Once we have enough, we can work wonders together. No wonder the dreamers tried to bury you in that old dream. Perhaps you frightened them? Or perhaps, being prisoners themselves, they desired your company. Is there evidence that the Pale King has power over life and death, either real or claimed? Claimed? Absolutely. Right, this whole space is effectively the Pale King in some way claiming authority over death, right? That's the point of the resting grounds from a royal perspective. In an actual perspective, I think it's more mixed. Certainly he has a lot of power, but it seems that the Pale King's power, if we trust Monomon, is over, like, rationality and irrationality as much as it is over life and death. So it's operating on a kind of, like, sideways axis that is related but not the same. In any case, you still have a long way to go. Take this old trinket as encouragement from me, and return when you have collected 200 essence. Another Hallownest seal. Ah, your dream nail holds over 200 essence, improving your talent. Have you seen that great door just outside? My tribe closed it long ago and forbade its opening. Like, 4 years? Ah, but as far as I can tell, I'm the only member of my tribe still breathing. That means I needn't feel bad about breaking a taboo. As proof of my belief in you, I'll open the door. Shoutouts to the Kickstarter backers for this game. We're about to meet a lot of you. So you see the dreams of this old kingdom are starting to cling to you. Very encouraging. Certainly made my dreary work here more exciting. Being the caretaker of this place hasn't been very stimulating. I shouldn't complain though. Tending these graves and guiding the wielder, all penitence for old crimes. Certain things have to be kept in balance. A pale ore, yay! Ah, 500 essence. You're a master in the making. Well done, well done. I have a small reward for you. Plucked from one of my most precious memories, this charm will bring you and the dream nail closer together still. The secrets of this kingdom won't be able to hide from you any longer. Ooh, dream wielder. Let's go take a look at this. Also, the moth has decorated here a lot with these very stylized dream catchers being, you know, a really, really potent mark of this sort of dream space as an alternative space. Anyway. Okay. Millibug! Wear your own mind, little one. Twisted minds bring dark deeds, and mine was more twisted than most. Alright, so, even though the wall is made out of face, even though the wall is made entirely out of face, I would like to observe that the statues of... Oh. But that's the point, though. Don't fear, little creature. Though violent rituals possess me, the peaceful air in this place seems to keep it at bay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Sneaky secrets. There is the only marker of the Pale King within this space. And really the only thing that says, hey, the Pale King, right, this was sealed off as part of penitence for the Moth Tribe, and the sort of marker of that truce is, I think, this King's Idol. Right? I think this King's Idol is a marker of the new role of the Moth Tribe, i.e. the worshippers of the Radiance. Splish Splash. And so that is one given collectively to them. Oh jeez. That's kinda weird, not gonna lie. I only carried 3, far less than legends may suggest. There's so many good little bugs. They're not giving us a whole lot, you know, useful, but they're trying. Their old god doesn't seem to have loved it. I'll be honest. Yes, Magnus. Don't judge me by my appearance, okay? I'm afraid you already lost your head. Uh-huh. Thanks, Wyatt. Little flavors. Little bits of flavor. Aw. So many little bits of flavor. Oh, Wanderer. Expect you will outdo me by far. As long as he's traveling the caverns of Halnest, I expect they're now far more dangerous. Good luck. Uh-huh. Another moth at the edge of the world. Interesting. There's so much here, right? Right, there's so much in this space. And again, right, the thing that stands out to me about this space is the extent to which it is not, full of royal iconography. Like, this is a space that is maintained and protected by the dead and not by the Pale King, right? Compare it to the rest of the resting grounds. Like, it's almost impressive how much less there is. Right? There could be so much iconography related to the Pale King, especially since the presence of a King's Idol says that, hey, it was sealed off after the war with the Radiance, and not before. And yet, really, the Pale King has not, like, claimed this place in the sort of way that you expect that jerk to do. Because he's absolutely that guy, so, I'd expect a lot more, which suggests a certain kind, perhaps a condition of the truce. Right, there's a lot of ways you could read in absence. But hey, that is, you know, important. Especially if you're looking at a site, right? A change of material and monumentary culture is meaningful. Even though... Oh, I'm not done yet. Wonder where I missed one. Or more. I think it's up here. Yeah. Grr. Right. Exactly, and that's something super applicable in a lot of other right? In historical analysis. Is, hey, you know, there is significance in what material cultures are found in a spot. You have to be careful in what interpretations you make, and contextualize that in other stuff, but it's a good observation from which to build questions. Right? If history is the fine art of knowing what questions to ask, a take that I think is a bit potentially spicy, but defensible, right? A core part of history is knowing what questions to ask. Changes in constructed spaces absolutely is a great spot to start. Sacred memories, honored souls. So interesting, unlike the warrior dreams, all of these heroes all of these people are honored. Versus, I think the warrior dreams exist in a specific part of non-honor. Like, quite carefully, not honor. So, the fact that they are in a sacred space, and the sacred space kind of exists to defend and justify them, like, super neat. Big fan. Anyway, let's go down here. I'm sure nothing weird... Yep. Nope, nothing weird here. Definitely not. Yep. Yep, nothing weird. Yep. Oh. We're fine. This is fine. Ow. Shark. Nailed it. Oh hey, you want like forgotten? Like weird forgotten monumentary styles? What the heck? This is unlike anything else we've seen in Hollow Knight. Like what is this little box? Okay. I'll let you be free. Reminds you of, like, Hebrew horned altars? You know, that is a great shout. It's clearly, I'd say, yeah, related to some sort of receptacle, tabernacle, or, like, something. But just, what that's... Oh, come on. Don't... Yup. Is that an older burial ground? I think so. I think it's older. Mehor, this world, this cruel, sinful world, why does Che awake? Why does Ke persist? La Mère, you could not know of a tragedy as complete as Ke's. True love is stripped apart, two worlds that could not meet. And now, melled lovers, dead so long in time, dead so far away, buried, Maina? Aye. Amongst its hateful kin that did deny our union, that did reject Ka's outsideness. She doesn't suppose? No. Could Ka ask? Could Ka burden? Could you deliver gift to her grave? The gift is, maybe small? The trek is long. She rests among her kind in your queen's lush refuge. Could such a thing be done? Ka ask perhaps impossible things? Mad things? For Lemaire to take up such a quest would be a kindness Ka has near forgotten. Rare boon you grant Lemaire, it will be Ka's last request. After this shall never Ka lay burden on another. A sacred flower is the offering. It is a rare delicate object, one of a kind. You must cherish it, must act as though it were your own heart. If you were to get hurt while carrying it or did attempt to ride those jolting pranks of beasts, it would be forever destroyed. Yay. No. Nails and claws. Why must it be so? Oh boy. So, we're giving this to Elderbug, right? Right, chat? Elderbug's cute. Elderbug deserves it. Hopefully I cleared the path before I started this. Oh, I absolutely did not. Ow. Ow. Ugh. Dang it. Yup. Absolutely, definitively, indubitably did not do that. You blame the Radiance? I also blame the Radiance. So dark. True. Tiny Wanderer. Yep, definitely wasn't my own fault that I got caught with that. Nope. Definitely not. No way, no how. Ow. Okay, that one maybe was. I'm not gonna pretend that that was, like, a great play. Okay, well. Who's... D-Dark good. Salutations! God. No. Okay, those enemies are creepy. These enemies are just the worst. Not even slightly a fact. But yeah, right, this place is weird. I don't know what to make of this place. My instinct is that it's, like, relatively natural. Like, this is a... well, maybe not. Maybe this is an older burial ground. I don't know what to make of it, but it is creepy as heck. And I don't love it. They also appear to be mummified, or partially mummified. That's a completely different burial practice. True. If you want to read them as being mummified, and that's like what the brownish fabric-y bits are, then 100%. 100% you should look at that and go, yeah, this is an older burial practice, with a lot of other stuff going on. Anyway, we're now in the ridge part of... Oh, hell. That should be everybody. Nope. Does this imply that the Radiants can, like, can bring bodies back to life? Maybe? Yeah! Yeah, maybe it does. Cause they definitely, like, sport orange goo. And orange goo usually means Radiance. So yeah, maybe that is exactly what that means. I hate that revelation. Thank you for it. Oh dear. Map updated. Well. No. I hate the mummies. Yep. Big not a fan. Super duper not a fan. And again we have the question of did they put as much thought into this as we and Mossbag put into it? I don't know. Right? It's definitely a potential. Right? It's within the realm of possibility that, yeah, they did. Ow. But I did put that much oomph into it. It's also entirely possible that, no they didn't, and I went like, what's a good creepy enemy in a graveyard? Mummies. Done. Easy peasy. Boom. And that'd be perfectly valid, like, I'm not gonna be mad at them if that was their thought process. Don't think there's anything to be mad about. But the fact that they've made something with enough potential, I think, is handy. Oh boy. Reminds me of how some parasites can control their hosts. I have terrible news I have good news and bad news. The good news is that this is not that. The bad news is, I know it's not that because that's elsewhere in this video game. Yay. Oh, many stag stations have been opened. Again I can travel the breadth of the kingdom. So many grand thoroughfares and old sideways I've forgotten. Somewhere amongst the lines lies the Stag Nest. The place where I was born and raised. I thought its location lost to my failing mind, but now I can almost remember the path. Aww. Little one, we stand in the King's Station. Named of course for the King of Hallownest, he who ordered the building of the stagways and stations. The king never rode the stagways himself, but I heard he was a glorious bug to behold, bright and radiant in visage, so much that it hurt to look at him. Ah. Yes, chat, we are doing this. No, it is not smart of me to be doing this. What? Nailed it. For our efforts, we get a Hallownest seal. Hooray. So, with that, I think we are actually going to take our first ad break, because I desperately need to get up and stretch, because we've been going for an hour. So, right, here's the deal, chat. Every hour we take an ad break for the explicit goal of being all able to stand up, stretch, and practice self-care. We like doing that, we think that's important. So, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just 3 minutes to continue our historical tour. We're going in, clearing out the rest of City of Tears except for Water Knights. Don't need that in my life yet. And taking on the Royal Waterways and heading down towards the Abyss. Right, I think that's the goal. If we can get Monarch's Wings by the end of today's stream, we'll be in fabulous space to tear through the rest of the game next time. So, don't go anywhere. Our historical tour of Hollow Knight will continue after these brief messages. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I hope the ad break treated you all very well. During the ad break, thank you Zoe Alden for the Prime sub. You've been subscribed for 13 months, currently on a 9-month streak. Huge. It also looks like yesterday, KJ Max subscribed, or resubscribed for 19 months, so big thank you to you as well for that. If you're just tuning in, hello, I am Adam. This is Loot of History, the foremost stream dedicated to historical and historical adjacent games. We are continuing our historical tour of Hollow Knight today, where we are trying to put good historical methods, talk about how we do history, why we do history, using this fictional world space, because there's just so much to talk about that it's super great. If you are enjoying this and have not done so yet, sorry, that sentence got away from me. If you are enjoying this and have not done so yet, or are just tuning in, do say hello in chat, and consider following to be notified for all streams we do. We're doing like Bramble the Mountain King, and a new survival game where we get to make fun of Ponce de Leon later this week, so, you know, that'll be a great time. And if you really want to support the channel, consider joining Zoe and KJ and everyone else in subscribing to the channel to help make sure we're able to keep doing bigger, better things, get cool guests on, play more fun, exciting games, and otherwise hang out, have a good time. Alright, let's get back into it. So, we are now in the King Station, which is apparently, you know, the biggest and grandest of the stations, and is definitively in the rich part of town. Based off all of the, very goofy looking husks. The quest nails are so good. Look, they are my favorite. They're, out of all of the excellent marginalia that makes up this game, they are one of the best. Or, not this game, this stream. God, words are so hard. Have you seen that embroidery game that went viral on Twitter about a week ago? Yes, I have. It's called Scarlet Rin. Thanks to Wolfie's generous support on Patreon, we will be playing that on launch day, whenever that is. Because for just $25 a month, you get access to, or you get to pick what game I'm going to play. And I will play it as soon as possible after you select it. So, thanks. The game is not out yet, so obviously I cannot play it quite yet. But we'll be playing it as soon as it comes out. Because not only is it amazing in that every frame of animation is embroidered, it is in a, quote, medieval world inspired by Slavic folklore. Which means it is thoroughly within the remit of this channel to go forth and play that a lot. Ow. Sure. Wow, you're so tanky. Like, you've tanked... They've tanked so many hits. He tanked a full... Ha! There's been a whole trend of, like, games that explicitly claim to be influenced by Slavic folklore Like, there's been so many recently. And it's like, what are y'all... Ow. Like, you just tanked all 3 hits there. They tank so many hits. Isn't there a game where you play as a Leshy? Yeah, there's one. It came out not that long ago. I do not remember its name, but I do remember seeing it. I think we could do a lot. We could... oh, with a simple lock. I need more simple keys. Boom. Boom. Yes. I've got a solution to this. 2 D-Darks. It's called Leshy. Well... I mean, I guess that's descriptive. But yeah, Witcher... The Witcher made people realize Eastern European folklore exists. I think the more accurate way of saying that is The Witcher made people realize Eastern European folklore could be wildly profitable. Right? Because still, most of the devs that are making games based on Eastern European folklore are themselves Central and Eastern European. Like, I want to say the folks behind Scarlet Deer Inn are Slovak, but I'm not super confident on that, so don't take me at my word on that. My god, he's glorious. Nope, stop walking. Follow you? Okay, I'm following you. Ow. Right, shift. I was talking with this, talking to your partner about some of this yesterday in terms of pop culture shifting to more stories based out of mythologies, especially some the lesser known ones, especially like e.g. what like Marvel's doing in some of their shows. I mean, even in I think Eternals, right? There's like kind of a lot going on. There, check. Okay. So, right. So a Central European dev team making a story about, well, to some extent, likely inspired by stories they know, right? According to their regional and quote-unquote national folklore. We're going to put some quotes around that because that's complicated. There's turns out a lot to say when you say the terms national folklore, but you know, still is somewhat. Oh yeah, I should dream mail y'all. With wealth, all yours. Oh dear. You can tell how good these people are. Alright. There's a Snack King, and if you put milk out for snakes, you'll have good luck. Exactly, right? There's a lot of fabulous folklore and very, like, game... I don't know, appropriate? Game sensible? Game something folklore. Right? Folklore that is very easy to turn into... Goodbye. I thought I could peg off that. Oh well. But yeah, right? I think it's kind of a corollary to the trend of indigenous games, though the goals and approaches are somewhat different between games inspired by Slavic folklore TM, and games made by and about indigenous peoples. I think the emergence of both at the same time, I think, is a linked phenomenon, but I don't want to be calling those the same thing, because I don't think they are. And that's based on vibes, that's not based on, like, serious argument.
Velmi Artred.
Like, you know, you...
Opal.
Another Wanderer's Journal, eh? This journal is a traditional stone type. Text endures well upon it. In its declining age, the city switched from stone to parchment woven of spider silk. It's a small tragedy. The moisture in these towers has rendered most of those texts illegible.
Velmi Artred.
Fair enough. I'm glad they acknowledged that. Look at that. Dealing with the fact that moisture is real bad for things written on paper or parchment. This turns out it's real bad. Hello, Nassil. You're a talented collector, alright. You're the best I've met. If you keep at it, I'll worry I'll run out of space in the shop. Guess what? I got another one.
Gachael.
Hello, Nassil. Aww.
Velmi Artred. Velmi Artred.
Have you visited the remnants of his palace? It's down below the city, in the bedrock of the kingdom. It must have been an impressive sight in its time. Now there's nothing left. It's a strange thing, though. There's no signs of conflict around the area. It's as though the whole place just vanished.
Delka.
Well, look, Wolfie, that's not quite true. Right, there is absolutely, imperialism, specifically imperialism by the Holy Roman Empire, against Slavic, traditions. Like, the Slavic language, there was a concerted attempt for a couple hundred years to try and, or the Czech language, I should say. There's a concerted effort for a couple hundred years to wipe it out. So, I'm not gonna go as far as to say, that there's no imperialism going on. Just that, it is not a corollary to say that, Slavic peoples are unproblematically or straightforwardly indigenous to Eastern Europe, in the same way that you can say that the Sami are indigenous to Northern Scandinavia, because there is a different relationship going on. It is complicated and messy issues, and there's a lot of care that I think needs to be deservedly taken. Ow. That's fine. This is fine. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, this climb without Monarch's wings is going to be difficult. Oh well, I believe in us. We're talented, we're cool, we're handsome. I mean, look at us. We're so cute. What is the best... that is the best solution? Whee! God. This whole thing is a bit spooky. Wow, I missed by a pixel there. So while I'm here, I may as well grab this. These platform challengings are making you remember your time in Celeste. Celestes are way harder than Hollow Knights. There's really not that many in Hollow Knight. Though if I was being smart, I'd be using the D-pad instead of the joystick for these, but... whatever. Oh. Exactly. Path of Pain is the only one that's, like, bad. I'm not good at the rest of White Palace. So, like, we'll just acknowledge that I'm bad at White Palace and expect me to die a lot in there. But Path of Pain is the only one that's, like, hard. Kingdom above, Palace below, Servant's Path. Well, thank you, random lore tree. The lore tree tells us that this is, in fact, a backdoor in order to get between the City of Tears and the horrifying space down here. Maybe I'll just, like, oh. Maybe I'll just leave, okay? Because this place is, you know, not constructed, but, like, not constructed in the same way or to the same degree that, most of the rest of this area is. I wonder if there's someone who speaks for the lore trees. Maybe the lore axe? Boo! Boo! Oh, I don't have tram pass. We're just not gonna worry about it. It's gonna be fine. It was low-hanging fruit. It was low-hanging fruit. You're not wrong. Okay, well. Who is excited for the Ancient Basin? Hello, Cornifer. Wolfie, thank you for the gift sub too, Brave New Charcoal. 544 in the lifetime of this channel. Oh, caverns, these ones. Can't you just feel the weight of the kingdom above? It's a heavy thing, alright. I reckon not many would reach these depths. We're pioneers, you and I. At least in recent history. It's a long trek back to the shop from here. I'll be resting my legs a while longer. No, not too long, though. It won't do to have a Zelda worrying after me. And Brave New Charcoal proves the continued longevity of Cult of the Lamb by contributing to the cult totem. All hail the armchair historians for continuing to exist and be exciting. Cult of the Lamb just got DLC, didn't it? With like a whole bunch of like new shenanigans. Hooray. And then there's an area where I can't jump up. And then there's an area that's farther down that's even worse. I won't be able to open this yet because, you know, the absolute top tier lore. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Our pure vessel has ascended. Beyond lies only the refuse and regret of its creation. We shall enter that place no longer. Let me in! Let me in! Don't let me in yet. I'm not ready. That area is terrifying. over here? This is this. This is what I was looking for. A bench. This is the second thing I'm looking for. Oh, there's one other thing I want to do in Ancient Basin first. And that is spend all my money. Before we panic about this next area. Oh. Right above here, isn't it? Ow. That was dumb of me. Oh well. Yeah, here it is. Ring ring. Missing monarch, we need you now. Return to us. A true servant gives all for the king. Let Helenus, pale king, relieve you of your burden. Drop all Geo into fountain. And by all, I mean less than half. Like 40%. But man, what a crazy monumental sculpture. And really the first good look of like the Pale King himself we've seen in this game. We can see his little legs. He's got little tiny legs. Yay. And he's a rather dark statue. Well, water damage. I'm going to assert that it's... Oh, heck. I'm just going to say water damage. Well, that was almost worth. Your god has skinny little legs, has started at least one this speed fast, I'm sure. Probably. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Yes, of course. Nothing here. So down we go! Oh boy. Well, who's prepared? Who's prepared for this awful gauntlet? Now. Every time. That was just dumb. 5 will be enough for the time being. Nay. Ha! Got 2 of you. Oh boy. Every time. And I have too much fear. I think that's my problem. Simply too... Yep, there we go. Good damage boost. And I believe that... A simple key. Blame it on the Radiance? True. Every error is 100% the Radiance's fault. Yep, definitely not mine. Definitely not. I can heal up completely off of this guy. Or not. He's gonna explode. Ah, tragic. Alright, I can heal up enough. Flawless. Yep, flawless victory right there. What are those things? What are their names? Remind me of what their names are? Journal. They are... Mullarks. Yep. Definitely remember that. For sure. Alright. Chat, do you believe in me? Ow. If you did, you shouldn't. I need to heal up, too. One, two. Dead. You feel sorry for this boss? Why are these four adorable goth chubbies fighting each other? No. Was there ever an explanation how the Hunter's Journal has detailed entries on the Radiance and other bosses? No. Not even slightly. That is a case of pure design considerations. I don't think there is, like, a solid, like, reasonable lore explanation as to why the Hunter might have that. I think it's just, you know, you need a complete compendium, because compendiums are good. Anyway, we can double jump now. Whee! Poor broken vessel. Also, well, not our first hint that we are not the only one in the world. Right, we've gotten two other major hints. Firstly, the fact that the other guy, or that we got the Mosswing Cloak from a guy who looked like us, another goth trippy. And then secondly, the fact that the Hollow Knight also has a very similar looking... Oh, awkward. The fact that the Hollow Knight has a very... Ow. The fact that the Hollow Knight has a very similar looking cloak to us also... Jesus, stop doing this. Well, chat, what do you think the odds are it's not going to be this try? Oh. Maybe we just reset, we try that again, but this time with feeling. Really? Alright. Be that way. There's so many. Alright, here we go, Lostkin. The same fight, but scarier. Ow. Damn it. So yeah, that's Lostkin. Lostkin is the same fight is the challenge mode version of Broken Vessel. Super fun fight. I want a few more resources before I go in and try it. Like, I just need a few more. I need a few more resources, like another spell. Another Palor upgrade, I think, would go a really long way. Because if I can one-shot the Follies, I'm able to accomplish a lot more. But it's a fun fight. I highly recommend. Also, makes explicit the thing I was saying, right? The idea that that there is more than one of the Hollow Knight, or of, sorry, little bug friend. A little bug knight, right, is hinted at by who we get the Mosswing Cloak from, is hinted at by the Broken Vessel, and is made explicit by the Lost Kin. Because kin to whom? Kin to me. Also, now that we have this, we can just go places. Hey look, this is the ruins of where the palace were. But remember what we were told, right? The palace is just, like, gone. With no sign of conflict, right? There's not the pile of corpses that there are in, say, Deep Nest. And the dead people here, the few that there are, seem to be really confused. Right? They seem to, like, be genuinely confused as to where the heck did the king go? So, if they're confused, are we also confused? Yes. Almost certainly yes. Anyway, station friend. Hello. Ooh, tablets. No, what station is this? Hidden all the way at the bottom of the world. Until I heard the bell calling, I didn't even know the Stagways traveled so deep. We've discovered something quite astounding, little one. Wonder how old I grow. The world still keeps surprises like this stowed away. It's secret. And also, yeah, there are, like, directions and signs. And evidently a pretty fancy station. And we can't read any of it. Alright, Zoe. Enjoy being outside. But instead of leaving, I actually think there's something else I need to do here. There's a Palor in this area as well. It is secret. It is safe. True. Zoom. This area is so cool because, like, there's so much you can learn, or I guess there's so much implied meaning, in the idea that the palace, right, the center of the world, or of the kingdom, is underneath it. Like, underneath the capital. Instead of being up in a very prominent place like what you see in, you know, human spaces, you get this one that's, like, turned completely underneath it. And that's super cool. Right, there's just a lot of... No. Go away. There's a lot of potential meaning that you can read out of that. In terms of how much, you know, actual meaning there is... Ow. Not as confident, right? It obviously just kind of makes sense because, you know, bugs. They're bugs. Ow. Could only hide. What warrior am I? Now, my friend, you dealt with all those beasts? I'm ashamed to say I was hiding. Those ghastly things chased me and I ran. If you hadn't come along, who knows if I'd ever have survived. Others take me for a fearsome warrior with my impressive size. But this king of beasts, I wonder if I'm just no match for. Enough! I cannot wallow in my weakness. I must take strength from your example. You act so confident. It's called not having a brain. You should try it sometime. You show no fear before your foes. I'll try my best to do the same. No, see, I just have no self-preservation instinct by virtue of barely technically being alive. It's important. Lonely Spaceport, thank you for the 9 months. Bird nests are not ADA compliant. Well, true. Ow. I like cloth. I like cloth so much. Another Kickstarter backer, by the way. Hey, Lore! Hooray. Well, good try, good try. Good try, good try. Oh. Ow. Yeah, that worked. Not optimal, but it worked. Hooray! Alright. Goth Chibi says, who's for Da? True. I really need to get the upgraded version. Like, it just doesn't hit the same. Let's see. I think we should just go back to King Station. I think that's the play, is we just go back to King Station, and then when we're in King Station, we can make our way into... We have a simple key, so we can do Royal Waterways. Alright. Ignore the bug flying in front of me. And... King Station. So... Right? It was mentioned earlier, right, when I was thinking about the potential meanings of the subterranean nature of the White Palace. It makes sense for bugs, for the palace to be farther down, deeper in the nest, more hidden. All that's super duper true, makes perfect sense. Also happens to be the fact that the Pale King is doing horrifying experiments that he needs to hide, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Two things can be true at once. Some things can be more true than others. I think the, horrifying experiments one is particularly true in this case. Alright, now, let's head up the Royal Waterways because, you know, today's theme has been horrifying subterranean places. And what could be a more true summation of horrifying subterranean places than the Royal Waterways? Ow. I don't know who gave the Royal Waterways permission to be capital L like that, but someone did, and I don't like them. It was probably the Pale King. Pale King's a jerk. Goodbye. Also, the rich people in this thing are all obsessed with money, and they're also jerks. How is it raining here? There's a lake. There's just a lake. The king pales in comparison to good kings. Haha. Like, who gave them permission? Who gave them permission? Rich people obsessed with wealth. How is that possible? Exactly. Now, admittedly, sometimes they're cute. Boop, boop. Alright. Have a good rest of your day. Good luck with your meeting. We'll be around. Yes. You seem well adjusted. I'll find you again. The water will bring you to me. I just need to keep searching and praying. When I meet you again, I want you to say that you're sorry. Don't take something if it isn't yours. That's the law. Everything you see, it belongs to me. Don't be angry. I'll share my food with you if you give me Geo. This Geo is mine. Don't try and take it back. Here, take your food with you when you leave. No. Why would I keep feeding you Geo? Rancid eggs, your favorite. True. Ow. Luckily, with, thanks in no small part to the power of double jumps, navigating this area shouldn't be too bad. Ow. I do, however, have to not do that. You have to keep evicting earwigs from your garden house? Oh, yike. Yeah, not a huge fan of that, I'm not gonna lie. Why are they like that? Do they have to be like this? Like, you're all teeth. And I don't appreciate it. You really hate the noises that these enemies make. True. Me too. Notice I've been complaining about them being like that the whole time. But flukes. Flukes are just the worst. Does that mean I intend to commit grotesque amounts of violence against them? Oh yes. Hey, a 7th mask. Sound engineers really had fun with this one. True. Oh, well, fine. That's my solution. Yeah. And another rancid egg! Yay! Just what I wished for. Goodbye. Ow. Every time. Oh yeah, there's something on, like... I seem to remember that there's something... Scared. Well, yeah, that's bad. Dead. Now, I seem to remember that there's something around in the water down here. Yeah. That's what I remember. Hail Hydrate. Thank you, Lonely Space Orb. We got tea. Now, to be smarter, and not fall into the giant pit of doom. Now, Cornifer, how you doing? Cornifer, now. Unironically, a super dangerous area. I love that they make this like a boss area that's just a bunch of these guys. Just hanging out. Having a good time. And it's like, unironically dangerous. Jennifer.
Make him noise, Gucci.
Oh, aren't these waterways thrilling? A labyrinth of pipes and tunnels. Couldn't have asked for a better place to employ my talents. It's also orderly, so considered. Nothing like the crude irregularity of those caverns. Ah, but so sad. My trunk is telling me those fungal wastes are close, and I sense my damp adventure may have reached its end. Guess I'll be calling this map done. Thank you, Cornifer. Bye, Cornifer. And the fungal here. Fungal wastes. There's Dashmaster. Which means we've already been here. Whee. Oh, Animorphs is unironically, like, quite scary, Liz. I super sympathize. Hello, Magistressa. We have had the theme of the stream be horrifying underground places, so get excited. Well, that was fun and exciting. Let's go down here. You have 16 books checked out, 6 on hold. Well, that's fun. I'm not gonna leave you in this horrifying space as... Yup. 100% intentional. Yup. Calculated. Wait, how late were these? Okay, well, that was exciting. Let's get this as high as we can. Alright, that's full. Ow. Now it's not full. Alright, who's ready for the worst of the bad loss? Do we just zoom? Do we just... Oh. I thought that was down here. Ow. Fine, be that way. I thought Flukeworm was down there. Flukeworm? Flukeworm, where are you? Flukeworm? Yeah, right here. There we go. This game is just crunchy sound effects right now, yup. Just the word. Just having such a good time. Ow. Come on. Well, it's dead now, so there's nothing to hate anymore. Okay, there's still several things to hate. I'll be honest, there's still plenty of things to hate. Yes, the mini-boss. That's unironically, like, stupid tough. Yeah. Yeah. It's no one has a good time, when it comes to Fluke Marm. Right? Either Fluke Marm is like the easiest boss in the game, if you have enough DPS output, or it's basically undoable. There is no middle ground. And it sometimes is just not good. Yay. Is this the... No, this is just this room again. Gotcha, this is fine. This is fine. Mm-hmm. 100% okay. I don't think there's that much left to do down in this section, right? There's just Doma Doma, I think, which is good. That's where I want to get to. I want to get to best guy. Ow. Weird. Okay. There isn't a whole lot, honestly. Royal Waterways is another place where I don't ever feel like there's a whole lot of, like, super interesting things to say. Because, you know, it's dark, it's spooky, it's full of horrible nightmare noises. And that's like 90% of its personality. Is horrible nightmare noises. I hate everything about, yeah. Yeah, Lizard, I sympathize. I hear you. We're gonna try and spend as little time in here as I can get away with. I will need to come back here, because while we have everything we need in order to do that, I'm not going to do it quite yet, because, I need to beat a boss first. I need the most coziest boss, to make up for the horrors that I am inflicting upon you. We will have to come back here one more time later, cause frickin' Godhelm. Yeah, there he is, Doma Doma. Let's go. Who's excited?
Mera, ako. Rumas.
It's the boy! Oh no, you don't get to do that. He's having such a good time. And now he's doing it but fast. Look at him go! Yeah! Look at him! Look at him in the background! Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And that does an important thing for us to be able to do other stuff. What a champ. Exactly, he's so chill. He's such a bro. And now we're here. And there is, I need more soul from someone. Oh, why did I heal up all the way? We can fight him again later, because he's chill like that. I love that they made this whole area, like, horrible and full of goop, and just not having a good time. And then, they're like at the end of it, you know, what if we make the boss not only not that difficult, but just an absolute sweetie. Just the sweetest guy. He's just having a good time, he wants to hang out, he wants to have a good fight. And it's like, it makes a bad place so much more tolerable. He's so sweet. Now, he happens to also be, you know, probably one of the champions of the Pale King, but that's neither here nor there. Right. Beautiful. Exactly. When we meet him a second time and he wakes up, he's like, I'm sorry, I just wanted to hang out and have a good time and fight someone. And you seems like a great choice for that. He's so sweet. He's just a guy. All of that for a rancid egg. Like, imagine being a suicidal doombat for the sake of a rancid egg. Like, why? Only those who prove their honor in combat may enter the Grove Beyond, the Defender. Well, I love that. Wait, does that imply? Wait a sec. That looked like that maybe implied, Don't spook me. It doesn't go well for you. Remind me of where this place is? Hello?
Pantera.
Oh, what a surprise. It's not often I receive visitors. It's been so long, ages even. I just hope my manners haven't left me. You've no doubt sensed my affluence. You're right to guess I'm renowned among the upper caste of Halnest. Well, I was, once, until those cretins cast me out. Have you met them, my former fellows? That's them outside, their bodies shambling around all mindless and empty, and I'm still here, alive to witness their pathetic demise. Oh, I'm just so happy. It can be a wonderful thing. And now there's one of me demise up the nails of the city's guards. I'll leave you two little grub as I did all of the others.
Oh.
Isn't life just wonderful? Let me open the door, I'm sure you'll appreciate that.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
I love that. Just a little crack in the wall. Back door. Just some lore. Just some idea of, you know, everyone do be a little crazy around here. Just a smidge of it. Nothing too extreme. Nothing too severe. Just a little bit of everyone do be crazy. Oof. And now, since we beat the Dung Defender, we can go in here. And now that we're in here, we can be in... explosions. We can go be in explosions. Now we get the very, like, character-driven parts of, you know, historical reading, research, other stuff. Ow. I gotta be like this. Just, no. Also you. Oh, I missed. Right, because we're starting to get hints on a variety of people. Because we got the Dung Defender, who has a relationship clearly to whoever this is, Yzma. Acid shall be repelled. Hooray! Look. And we get missile space. And we gotta just like skip. All of this, and or not skip all this. Right, we get this big luscious green space, and it's like, hey, this is apparently like the spot. This is a spot of particular importance to the Dung Defender, thanks to relationship with whoever this Yzma is. Right, it seems to be the defender of this space. Thanks to some other stuff that we see in the Dung Defender's home, it pretty strongly suggests that Yzma is one of the Five Knights, and therefore so is the Dung Defender, and tells us a few other things, like the first boss is one of the Five Knights, sort of technically, not really. And tells us that the Boozerface, who gives us the tear, is one of the knights. In this case, almost definitely. The big-ass nail in her house also kind of suggests that, but up to you whether you actually pay attention to that or not. And so all in all, it's just you get a bunch of signs that say, hey, this is actually like a really important area with a lot of significance and a lot of like oomph to it. You have dreams? Oh, Grib, there's no time. And also gives us the Dung Defender's name, probably. Almost the most likely statement is that I know, it's really sad. Right, he's the last one left, like, fully sane, and that's rough. Like, that's just rough. Oh. Suppose I should go this way, huh? I know, angst in a spooky bug game? Who could have predicted such a thing? No. 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 I have plenty of soul now, so let's go say hi to Ogrim one more time. See if he's okay now. Now that I have Isma's tear, if he's up and about again. Right, this is a case where the game never actually confirms its narrative, but the evidence is so strong in one direction that it's really hard to deny it. The fact that he has a dream form, where he is the white defender, when the color white is so strongly associated with the King of Halonest in this game, the fact that he's got statues of the other ones, the fact that Isma is also confirmed to it, the fact that Lem says that one of the knights is named Ogrim. Like, there's just so much information. The fact that he's got a king's idol. There's so much here that collectively suggests that he is one of the 5 knights. That, even though the game never says it, right, we're able to effectively state it as fact. And that's another one that's actually pretty useful for thinking about, you know, historical knowledge, etc. Because... oh, heck. This is fine. Right, because... an important detail about, like, history and historical knowledge is that, for the most part, like, we aren't... there's not like we have an encyclopedia that says, hey, thing X is true, and when we discover something, it becomes written into the encyclopedia, and off we go. Right? If most of your historical interaction is in, like, high school history classes, we literally have textbooks, and it's like, well, but, like, that is what it says, right? Like, that is a thing. And what games like Hollow Knight are really good at is getting to explore, hey, you know, not so much, right? But there is more going on. And with that more going on, right, we're able to see how knowledge is produced, and basically case study. Yeah, so we start with XYZ bit of knowledge, or XYZ bit of evidence. We build interpretations, and the weight of those interpretations, if they are strong enough, can become, you know, accepted as fact, and can be used as evidence for other interpretations. Like, I mean, you might look at that and go like, hey, that's just like the scientific method, like that's what a scientific theory is. And you'd be like, I'd be like, correct. It turns out well, the topic of history is different, and the nature of historical theories are a bit less empirical than many or some scientific theories. Like, they are fundamentally similar. What do you say how does doing archaeology? Oh, interesting. Ooh, that is an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, we can dig into that if you want. Hooray! And there is the channel point redemption. So, that being said, I am actually going to take another ad break, and then when we come back, we will look at that. Sound good? Like, there's plenty of that to engage with, but we need to take an ad break, stretch, etc. first. Okay? Let me find what I'm looking for along here. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a hole in the wall on this side. Nope, it's on this side. Maybe? I feel like there's totally a hole in the wall over here. Yeah, I think it's on this side. where are you? I want to get into a certain spot here. Maybe not. I was sure that there was something in this elevator shaft. Boo. Oh well. Let's get some music on. Then we'll hit the next area. And then we'll be. Oh. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the Colosseum entrance, which is on that side. Ow. Fair enough. I deserve that. Wait. Alright, well. This side of things it is. Alright, so yeah. We'll come back to that design diatribe in just after this ad break, so don't go anywhere to hear about, you know, a bit of a comparative case study between Hollow Knight and Dark Souls 1. So yes, we're going to take just a couple minutes of ad break, so then we'll be back with the final part of today's stream. So we do this so that I can make sure I am adequately hydrated and stretched. So I recommend you all do the same, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, alright? I will leave you with the questing snails and this piano music, and yeah, don't go anywhere. Alright, well, welcome back. I hope you all had a pleasant ad break. I got refreshments, pumpkin cinnamon donuts, so... Yes, you have been sitting there listening to the bug. I should have killed the bug first, that's on me. But there was at least also tunes attached to it. Good donuts. Ah. All Night sounds Arc Crush, but out of context. Yeah, okay. Here, let me make it all happy. Uh-huh. I fixed them. You're happy now? Now you just have music. Anyway. We are returning for the final part of today's stream, where we'll be occupied by two major questions. Okay, one major question and one minor question. If you are just tuning in, we're doing a historical tour of Hollow Knight, exploring both, you know, piecing together some of the lore of the game, the history of the game, and in turn, talking about historical methods and how we go about constructing that lore, or deconstructing that lore. So, the major question is a bit of a comparative case study, comparing Dark Souls 1 and Hollow Knight, and how doing analysis on those spaces and in those games is similar and how it is different. Thank you, Wolfie, for this design diatribe. The other question that I do want to touch on is, of course, hot takes regarding lore versus history. I will just wrap up the stream with a little bit of further musing on that front, but now a little bit more information. So, let's get back into it. More of this. So, when we think about, you know, Dark Souls versus Hollow Knight, there's way more similarities than there are differences. Let's be honest, they share a fundamental design philosophy of kind of obscure or hidden or not super obvious things that rely on the player to do a lot of the work of piecing it together. I also relies on having very strong aesthetics area to area. So each level is just such a strong look on its own that we're able to just go forth and analyze it with a relatively high degree of confidence. I mean, that's exciting, right? That's a good place to be in. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens in... Oh, I just don't stick to that. Okay. In that construction. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens in that, like, process of constructing this whole space. That being said, right, it is correct to note that there are some differences. The first and most obvious difference is, of course, 2D versus 3D, right? Doing archaeology on 2D spaces and thinking about how they're constructed and designed, they're a space that is significantly less flexible than many or most 3D spaces. And so, right, when we think about doing archaeology in these spaces, at least to me, these are, like, way less literal in their analysis, right? Like, there's some places where I'm able to be extremely literal, but there's a lot more places where I look at this and I go like, you know, these are a constructed aesthetic, and an aesthetic that has arguments, but this is not, like, these are not houses per se. These don't have rooms that function in quite the same way that... Ow. Ow. These like, aren't rooms that work in the same way that rooms in a Dark Souls house will work, because that's not the, like, design space that we're working in. Ow. So of course we shouldn't expect them to work exactly the same, because that's, like, not sensible. So, where perhaps I look at a library in Dark Souls, and I'm like, okay, how does this function as a library? What's its organization? How does all that work? Right, that's gonna work a lot less well in Hollow Knight, because architecturally that's just not what's going on. So what we instead look towards, or at least what I instead look towards, is treating these spaces much more vibe-based. Think about, right, what places are we drawing influence from? What places are we not drawing influence from? And so, as it maps onto real-world spaces, right, it does so in a much more aesthetically driven way. So, you know, to use this room right here as an example, right, I look towards Victorian manners. Right? I look towards the Victorian manners as a big point, because we got that heavy, that aggressively florid wallpaper. We got the random curio cabinets, literally, like, this is just a pile of stuff. This is a cabinet full of stuff. Go away, random stuff. We've got really fine wrought iron aesthetic decorations on the gates and other such stuff. And so there's a lot of things here that kind of lean me towards thinking, you know, Victorian. Ow. He ganked me. Ow. Really, that wasn't a kill? Alright. Alright. Jeez. And so, you know, I'm not interpreting this in a medieval way, maybe a lightly medievalist way, because that's the lenses I think of. Right, I'm not thinking about this in terms of, you know, arms and armor. I'm not thinking about this in terms of, like, how does this function as a real-world space? I'm thinking about this in terms of a lot of aesthetic influences, and where Dark Souls, you know, those aesthetic influences drive you very strongly towards a particularly medieval, medieval Gothic. This thing treats you much more towards a Victorian Gothic, and a much lighter space in turn. Now, the next big difference, right, we've got big influences changing off of all the 2D versus 3D, and how we interpret things off of that. The next difference is, of course, you know, the level of realism that we're thinking of. Like, we're not thinking about this as a, like, photorealistic space. Or at least, I'm not. Like, if you are, there's... I don't know why. I don't know why you're thinking of that. Right? Like, that's a bit funky. I mean, good for you, I guess. Ow. Done. Thank you. Dang it. That should be one of them? Nope, not yet. Okay. Easy game. Definitely not one of the hardest fights in the game. Nope, definitely not. Made it look easy. Anyway, right, but as we beat up the Watcher Knights, right, we're not supposed to be like, hey, this is like a photorealistic space where, you know, doing analysis for like arms and armor, like, that's not impactful. That doesn't really tell us what the game's design is doing. That's not really giving us suggestions on how to, like, move forward with interpreting everything this game is doing. This... It's so heavily stylized and so heavily abstracted that you want to think about it in just, like, more abstract terms, and think about historical influence and historical construction in it in more abstract terms. The last big difference I think I see between how we do Dark Souls and how we do Hollow Knight is its textual sources. There are no item descriptions in Hollow Knight, right? Think about how much information in Dark Souls is provided in item descriptions. Pretty much extra diegetic, right, outside the story, ways to see everything. And none of that exists in Hollow Knight, right? There's occasionally little things, right? Occasionally little tiny things like in our inventory. We get these, which are neat. Right, we get little glimpses like this. And we get ones like this, but these are way shorter than Dark Souls item descriptions. And because those are way shorter, right, just the sort of information we get from them changes greatly. So these are less useful than, say, item descriptions, where really the weapon itself doesn't necessarily tell us a lot in Dark Souls, but its description, its little text blurb, is the source of entire theories of interpretation about characters and what they're doing. Which is wild. Frankly, a wild thing. We have to be somewhat more oblique about it in this game, because our sources come from different places, and much more, what are people saying? What are people saying here? Ow. What are people saying versus what are items saying? Right? That's like the core... The core difference I think I see at the end of the day is that even though Bug Knight is, you know, not really about... There's no people, because everyone's bugs. Even though the world state is all dead, Hollow Knight is much more concerned with how are people remembering history, and how are people recording history, than Dark Souls is. Because Dark Souls is much more, right, the lore itself is the puzzle, and it's a meditation on different themes. Right? Items don't have dreams. And since dreams are so much a part of, like, the significance of this game, well, you need to do a lot more, and focus a lot more on those people. And that's I think what we see with how what his textual information they're giving you, and who does that, being mostly in-universe characters. So, last thing, of course, I want to talk about lore versus history, because as we wrap up today's stream, because of course I have more thoughts about that. Wonder if your thought changes. No, it does not. Goodbye. As we wipe out one of those dreamers, right, hot take, right, feel free to disagree with me on this, chat. In fact, I strongly encourage you to disagree with me if you actually do. But I promised a hot take about memory studies. And I've got a hot take about memory studies. One difference between lore and history is that lore is a past with no memory. Which is an extension, right? It's an extension of saying that lore is the parts that make it fictional. Right? That lore is something that we code as fictional. But, right, there is no collective memory around lore prior to lore's existence. Right? Like, there are no past events. And so, there is no memory of those events. There is only history, no memory. And so when we think about, played experiences, right, this is the immediate counterpoint, is, but we remember, right, literally remember fictional game experiences in the same way that we remember real-world memories. But I think that's different. I think, right, there is a communicative memory to having experienced the game, but there is no collective memory of the game's world. And that's where I think the difference is. And Wolfie half disagrees. Well, that's exciting. That's better than full disagreeing, I think. Wait, I can just do him like this. Incredible. By the way, I should also ask chat, when I say the terms collective memory and communicative memory, are those like meaningful sentences? That's probably an important thing to be aware of. Because if those aren't meaningful sentences, that's both fair and means I need to elaborate on some things. Hello?
Helmadelka.
Oh, what are you doing out in this miserable, downpour? Impressive fountain, isn't it? I'm sure we'd be able to appreciate more if we weren't both getting drenched. That night up there was an important one. The plaque here mentions a sacrifice, which carries something of an ominous tone. Probably meant some sort of horrid end, though it sounds like the night's goal may have been achieved in the process. In all the relics I've collected, I've yet to find a clue as to what that was. Who were you, Mystery Knight? Why no mention beyond your fountain? I'll be getting back to the shop soon. Stand here too long, they'll get washed into the waterways. Come and visit me if you like. If you have relics, I mean. I'm not much for chatter. Alright. You'd like clarification. Alright, so, collective memory and communicative memory are terms by Hogswalks originally, but elaborated on by, like, Jan and Deleda Assman and a bunch of other people. Communicative memory is memory as like a single person experiences it, right? When we think of memory, lived memory, that's communicative memory. I experience something, I tell you in an interesting and potentially comedic anecdote, and we all have shared that story. Ta-da. Collective memory is a bit different. It's kind of the memory after memory, and so beyond when you zoom out from any one person, right, what does the community at large, over a longer period of time, remember about a thing? Right, so Jan Osman's an Egyptologist. He treats it in terms of like Egyptian monumentary culture. Monumentary culture is a tool of creating an authoritative collective memory by saying, this is what happened. Don't think about it. Don't examine it. Don't do analysis. This is what happened. Just trust me. That's, you know, that's fair. Dang it, Wolfie. No, that's, you're correct, and you're just correct. So, I see where you're coming from. I think for many, in fact, most games it rings true. But, I think there are a few games that do have collective memories of active playtimes, specifically MMOs. They've been around for a significant time and changed a lot in that time to the point that certain events people have played become parts of the lore later in the game. So world events in World of Warcraft, God battles in RuneScape, most of EVE Online. You're correct, and it does kind of blow the whole thing out of the water, right? MMOs are a weird space in games, but I don't have good tools to analyze because they're MMOs. How do you deal with that many human actors in a fictional world space? But yeah, no, you're correct. It does... For a lot of games, it is true, and right when we think of a difference between lore and history, I think it's one that holds. But fundamentally, right, my contention is wrong, and you are correct, because MMOs really do a good job at disproving it. Hey, Sharwin's got an odd look about it, though vaguely familiar?
Velmi Ardred.
Another one of these. See, no, Lizard, I don't think Bionicle has collective memory. I think, well, that's not true. I think Bionicle has a collective memory, but that the collective memory of Bionicle is completely detached from its lore. Right? That the collective memory of Bionicle is existing in a, like, super weird zeitgeist of early 2000s. And so it's largely a memory of play, and of, like, shared consumption of media, rather than the experience attached to the past of the world within the universe.
War's son? Gian.
The king's idol? About to wonder the true visage of the king. Depictions are of an imposing gleaming figure and a fiercely horned crown. Expect there's much embellishment in the imagery, though. Our ruler seeking worship tends to hide their blemishes. It'd do no good to appear a common bug. True. Hey. How do you think this maps onto long-running actual plays? Actual play is like a completely different space. Terralingua, it's a phenomenal question. I should like try and reach out to Emily Friedman and just ask, because Emily Friedman's gonna have better takes than I do on that. Exactly, right? It's like there's another, it's like a subcategory of lore, like Tumblr lore, which is the most terminally online sentence possible, absolutely is collective memory, and is collective memory in the same way that MMOs are. And right, so I think, right, that suggests that there's something diverse of, like, the live servicey side of it, right? The idea of existing over months or years of time, with a lot of human actors. If we have those two things, hey, I'm not blaming you. Tumblr refers to itself as having lore all the time, and I blame, like, Tumblr as a platform is too online for me. right? If there's an extremely long time for media life, so often in the scale of years, verging on decades, and a sufficiently large number of human actors within that space, it's like, hey, things emerge, right? A collective memory forms around it. In a single, sort of contained media space, that's not going to be true. Right? And so it's weird. Right? Blizzard, I think, right, as you bring up, like, ESO Online, I think if you go sufficiently far back, the thing I originally postulated might become true again. Right, there's a point where collective memory ends. Right? Like, if you told me that there was a collective memory of Tamriel in the time period prior to whenever ESO takes place, I'm not sure I believe you. I'm not sure I disbelieve you, but I'm not sure I believe you. But if you refer to, right, the biggest EVE battle ever that blew like $1 million of fake real money as lore, I'm like, sure. And if you refer to that as collective memory, it's like, sure, I actually know someone who was part of that battle. Like, yeah, there's absolutely collective memory of that battle. But it's like there's a super weird space where lore gains like another layer of meaning, and that's spicy. I don't have good answers there. I don't know how to deal with that, actually. Exactly, right? Like, within ESO, there is a collective memory of ESO that is lore within the larger universe of Tamriel, because Tamriel is a franchise with a whole bunch of stories told in different periods. And that's one of them, and that's fine. ESO's lore could... I don't know, is ESO set before or after Skyrim? Oh, So in my experience, people firewall off long before. Okay, good. Notice I don't play ESO, I barely played Skyrim. So, you know, ESO's lore can theoretically, to some extent, become canon and part of the lore of Skyrim. To some extent. The trick is, barring really careful curation, like critical role levels of curation, is it going to be? Right? Because a core feature of games is that it's all deliberately constructed, right? Even though we can read meanings that are probably not deliberate, they're still constructed meanings, out of a constructed space, and design decisions were being made. And if no reference to ESO's events exists in Elder Scrolls 6, did ESO happen? Right? If a tree falls in the forest and if an MMO falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, is it canon? Well, I have no goddamn clue. But hey, it turns out MMOs are a fascinating space for history and games that's just widely understudied. Right, it's just ludicrously understudied, and so I'm not an MMO player. I don't have time for those content mines. So, I don't know. What you're saying is weird people have a different response to KOTOR and Star Wars The Old Republic than they do to ESO and Elder Scrolls. It's fair. Right? 100% see what you're saying. I think it's fair. I just have nothing smart to say. Being neither familiar with those fandoms, nor particularly where am I going with that sentence? Not particularly well read on studies of MMOs, so I have neither the like academic framework nor the fandom framework to actually answer those questions. But yeah, no, it's fabulous questions. And clearly a promising angle for more thought. And on that promising angle, I think it's time for us to wrap up today's stream. 100%, like, I am more than happy to have the conversation keep going, keep on happening in the Discord. But, firstly, thank you all very much for tuning in. Looks like we had a lot of faces that I haven't seen in a while, so to all of you who hung out, it was lovely to see you all. To everyone who was just sitting back and lurking, for either the whole stream or even just a smidge of it, you are all super duper appreciated. If you did enjoy this, make sure you hit that follow button, because we'll be back later this week starting a brand new game, Bramble the Mountain King, which promises to have some quality 18th and 19th century Norwegian folklore and a horror-ish kind of vibe. No, nothing going in, so this should be exciting. I am, however, going to have Asbjornson's and Mo's collection of Norwegian folktales at the handy, so if we need to look stuff up, we can look stuff up. I might look up some stuff for fun. Then we'll be back on Saturday with community member and good friend Sacerdos to talk about, I don't remember his name, a new survival game where you are a Spanish conquistador on Ponce de Leon's expedition into the Fountain of Youth. Your boat got shipwrecked. You're now trying to survive. What you should read through that sentence is, we're going to make fun of Ponce de Leon for a very long time. Like, the man was not bright. And we're going to make fun of him, and we're going to talk about some good early modern history. So that sounds exciting to you. Mark down your calendars for Saturday afternoon, because that's when that's going to happen. Otherwise, again, thank you to everyone who followed and subscribed. Now, if you want to help support the channel, do consider subscribing here on Twitch as well for access to some fabulous emotes and ad-free viewing, or consider heading over to Patreon in order to support the channel for as little as $2 a month over there. Without further ado, though, I wish you all a very good rest of your night. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Until next time I see you all, farewell.